Hello and welcome to another video for Midas Touch Toys, Games, Collectibles. And today we are looking at the 1988 release by Galoob from their Star Trek The Next Generation series of 4-inch action figures. Now, Galoob had the license to produce the action figures for the season 1, although they didn't have the license for very long before it then went over to Playmates. But these figures were fantastic. Anyway, we get to that in a minute. So this is the card that the figures come on, and it says ages 4 and up, the very top right hand corner. It says Star Trek Next Generation, includes phaser weapon and tricorder analyzer, and they're posable. And there you can see an image of the USS Enterprise NCC 1701D flying through space, and just below that is an image of Lieutenant Commander, or Lieutenant Geordi LaForge as he was then, as played by the actor Lever Burton. And at the very bottom it says Lieutenant Geordi LaForge, super sighted officer of the USS Enterprise starship, and it's Galoob number 5340. Okay, so that is the front of the card. Now, before we have a good look at the figure itself, let's turn the card around and see what we got printed on the back. Okay, so I've turned the card around, and this is what we got on the back. So it said, so this was originally a figure that was sold by Beatties, the toy company that was around in the 90s. They did actually go into liquidation, unfortunately, though, and they had a series of shops in high streets, but they shut down back in the early 90s, I think. Anyway, so this says Stardate 41000.1, 78 years after the original mission on an all-new USS Enterprise and her crew head out into all-new adventures. The mission to protect and defend Earth, Federation, star bases and colonies, to seek out new life and new civilizations, to boldly go where no one has gone before. And it says collect the whole universe of action figures, action and adventure. He's got Captain Jean-Luc Picard, Commander William Riker, Lieutenant Commander Data, Lieutenant Geordi LaForge, which is this one, Lieutenant Natasha Yar, Lieutenant Worf, and the evil Ferengi leader. It says action figures, collect the whole crew. You got a phaser weapon. You got a die-cast USS Enterprise starship. It says Star Trek aliens, Antican delegate, and Seeley the leader. Action environments, USS Enterprise starship, shuttlecraft, Ferengi fighter. And it says for information on the Star Trek fan club, write to Star Trek the official fan club, blah blah blah. And then at the bottom it says the USS Enterprise starship flying, and then we've got this data card on Geordi LaForge. So it says Starfleet personnel file, name LaForge Geordi, rank Lieutenant JG, away mission USS Enterprise instructor. Origin, Earth, Afro-American descent. Profile, blind from birth. Lieutenant LaForge has been fitted with artificial vision apparatus that enables him to see the entire spectrum, from here to visible light to high frequency ultraviolet, capable of performing some of the functions of a tricorder analyzer. Lieutenant LaForge makes normal humans seem hopelessly blind by comparison. And then we've got over here, we've got the proof of purchase, 1 mission point, and the barcode and the copyright information at the bottom. Incidentally, the mission points, if you collected a certain amount of them, you could send away and get an item free. Now, I don't know whether that actually happened, or because the run for these Galoob figures was very short-lived. I think it was only for a year or two, so I don't know whether that actually came to fruition, and people did actually send away and get anything. I really don't know, but that was the whole plan behind the mission points, was for you to buy plenty, save the points up, and send them away and get something free. However, as I say, the figures didn't do very well. I don't think they were particularly well advertised. Galoob tried to do them based on the Star Wars figures, the 3 3/4-inch figures, and they didn't seem to take off the way the Star Wars figures did. So Galoob never renewed the license when it expired, and it was picked up by Playmates, who then went on to make the 5-inch figures, which they've done a fantastic job of. Okay, so this is the back of the card. So let's turn the card back around to the front and have a good look at the action figure itself. Okay, so I've zoomed right in on the figure, and there you can see Lieutenant Geordi. I should say Lieutenant because it was from season 1, before he was the chief engineer and became Lieutenant Commander, but he was Lieutenant in season 1. So I've zoomed right in on his face, and there you can see, let's go in a little bit closer, and there you can see it's a pretty good likeness. I do think Galoob done some very good sculpturing on these figures to make them look as close to the actors that portrayed the character as possible. Although a lot of the 4-inch or 3 3/4-inch figures, the time and the accuracy wasn't spent on them, but Galoob did do a very, very good job on accuracy, and they got them as close as they possibly could for the time. And we're talking 1988, so what we're talking 36 years ago now. These were produced, so obviously technology has moved on an awful lot since then, and the technology nowadays is very different, and the figures are cut very much lifelike, but back in the day they weren't, so the technology wasn't there to make them as close to lifelike as possible. But Galoob done an excellent job in these. If I zoom out a little bit, you can see there is Lever Burton, who played Geordi LaForge. And if we go back to the character itself, the figure itself, you can see it's a very, very nice likeness. The visor's done very well, and you can see he's dressed in his red classic Starfleet uniform with his comm badge and his black trousers. Incidentally, the comm badges on these are fantastic as well. They actually look like badges rather than some of the other ones, which was just like a painted version on the chest of the character or the figure. But these actually look like badges. So some of the detailing on these you could quite easily miss, but I think they were fantastic. Articulation. It wasn't the best in articulate. There was no elbow movements. You had the arms, the head, and the waist, or the top of the legs and the knee joints. So not a terrific amount of articulation. But overall, for a 3 3/4-inch figure, these are brilliant. Disappointed with the fact that they do come with a phaser. You see he's holding the phaser, but it is molded to the hand, so you can't remove the phaser. That's a bit of a disappointment. And the tricorder there, which comes with a strap on, so it can be hooked around his shoulder or around his neck, and it says that's a Tricorder Analyzer, but it looks more like a mobile phone. It doesn't really look like the tricorders to me. So I'm a little bit disappointed with that. A little bit disappointed with the fact that you can't remove the phaser. But other than that, I think it's a fantastic figure. And I think Galoob done a terrific job on this whole line. Now, the figures were all produced that was on the back. I've seen them all. I'm pretty certain I've seen a phaser, but I don't remember seeing much else on the Galoob line. So whether they did produce everything or they didn't produce them, I'm not 100% sure. We'd have to research that to find out. But the action figures, all the action figures printed on the back of the card, we got most of them in stock, as we had with this, and they are all factory sealed on the original card, just like this one. Now, obviously, the figures didn't do particularly well back in the day, so finding them on this mint unused card is almost an impossibility. But as usual, we at Midas Touch have managed to find a few, and they're currently available to purchase on the Midas Touch website, which you can get to quite simply by clicking the link below. It'll take you straight to the website. You'll be able to find this and many other vintage Star Trek items, and many other vintage toys, games and collectibles. Come to that. There's over 10,000 products currently available on our website for you to view and purchase at your leisure. Also, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, because we are uploading videos for every new item that goes into the website. There will be something for everybody, and I'm absolutely positive you're not going to want to miss this, because we literally have thousands and thousands of new products we're shooting videos for and uploading on a daily basis. So if there is something in particular you've been looking for, something old that you've never been able to find, something quirky you might want to buy for a friend, or just something from your childhood that you'd like to own again to help you recuperate those long-lost childhood memories, well, stay tuned, keep watching, because you never know, the next item we upload could be that item you've been looking for. Okay, that is it for me on the review of this particular item. I hope you've enjoyed this very short video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again soon.